you say your number one channel. It's me and Francis. So today we're gonna talk about. We're gonna go personal a little bit. We're gonna talk about myself, and he's going to ask me about my life. You know, everybody has their own different life, even if our lives are joined together. Right now, I'm trying to fix my hair, and I don't know how to because the camera makes it hard. So my name is Charity Nganga. This is Charity's Baba USA, your number one channel. If you haven't subscribed to my YouTube channel, you know the drill. Kindly consider subscribing. We are at 11,600 subscribers. Remember, this year we are aiming to go up to 20,000, and I know that you're gonna support me through there. Continue sharing my videos, continue commenting, and today is going to be a little bit different. I'm going to talk about myself. I don't think I've done that. I know I've talked a little bit about myself in one past video, but now I want to talk about myself since I was a little girl until up to right now. And Francis is going to be here to guide the conversation and ask me stuff. So Francis.
Yes, welcome to Charity Bubbles tonight. We welcome you to this channel and continue subscribing. Today is a hot day.
What do you mean it's hot?
Yeah, because yes, Charity is going to tell about her story, how she grew up. Hi, Charity.
Hi.
What's your name?
Oh, my name is Charity. Earlier, before I became Charity Nganga, I was Charity Karaoke.
Oh.
Yes, Charity Karaoke.
Why did you decide to change your name?
Now we'll go to that later in life. That was later in life, but Charity Karaoke, that was my dad's name. I grew up. I was born. Actually, I was born in the Rift Valley.
What?
Yes, in a place called El Bagon. That's where I was born.
So you are the people we usually call this Watuarugoros?
No.
Oh, okay.
My mom had gone to visit.
Okay.
Because my dad, initially, his family used to be in the Rift Valley, in a place called Molo, I think. And they had a farm in El Bagon, something.
So you're a farmer?
No, I'm not.
Oh.
So that's where I was born. But initially, they weren't living there. They were living in Nairobi, in the city. So they had gone to visit, and then the time came and I was born there. But growing up, my childhood, until I was 10 years old, I grew up in Nairobi. Actually, I grew up in Isili. You know Isili, where there is a lot of...
Charity, don't try to rush. I know you're village girl. If you're born in Lefty Valley, let us accept your village.
No, that was just when I was a baby. We didn't even last there for a month. She had gone for a visit and then she had a baby.
Okay, continue.
And she had to go back home.
Continue. Okay.
So initially we lived in the city. So I am a city girl, I would say that. But my younger life, when I up to 10 years old, I grew up in Isili. We used to live in Isili. I even remember the apartments that we used to live in. It was right opposite Madare. Right opposite Madare.
Is it apartment or house?
They were, those single rooms.
For the city?
For the city.
Oh.
It wasn't a house. It was a very big single room that my mom had divided in curtains.
Okay.
So there was an area that was their bed, like kind of their bedroom, but we never used to go there. Like it was, that was like a place that we could not go to. And then I do remember our bed was near the door, and they did have a curtain there. That was and that one was when I was older, because by the time I was 10 years old, we were still living in the same apartment. So at least I can tell the dimensions of the house. And then we had there was a little baby cot where my mom's bedroom was, and they had that partition of the sheet. There was the baby's cot outside there, and then there was a seat that was adjacent to our bed. Then there was a little table, and then there was a place where my mom used to cook. I think that's all that we had. I don't remember if we had it. So we had a cupboard too.
So you're the town girl.
Yes. So that's where we grew up. Me, I think all of us, because after me, my brother was born by that one brother, because I'm the second, and then my sister was born, and then the last one was my little brother. But my little brother was born later in 1987.
Still in Nairobi?
Yes. Actually, he was born in...
So you're born in house girl, guys?
But we grew up there, but myself, I wasn't born there. I wasn't born in the city.
So even if you're not born there, but you grew up in town.
Yes, we did. Yeah, yes, we did.
Oh,
And I started school in Isiri Primary School.
wow, wow.
That's where I went, and I went there until I was in class 5.
Then,
So, when I was in class 5, something happened. My dad he used to have a very good job. Actually, he was working for DT Dobie. He was a supervisor. And then I think he was fired. And then he went to work for another company that was called Leland Albion. And I do remember, like how our mom tells us is that
this was back 1980s.
yes, he was a supervisor at that point. So if he had kept that job, then we would be so rich at this point. But unfortunately, he lost both of those jobs. And when he lost both of his jobs, he didn't go to look for another job. I don't know for some reason why he didn't, because he would have, because at that point there wasn't so many challenges in getting jobs, but he didn't. So he decided to become a shopkeeper.
A merchant. Shopkeeper, they are merchants.
Whatever he was,
Yeah, shopkeeper.
he decided to become a shopkeeper. And then after becoming a shopkeeper, I do remember at one point, now by that time I was around class 4 or 5. By the time he became a shopkeeper.
Still in Nairobi?
Yeah, we were still in Nairobi. And one time we woke up in the morning and someone had gone to the shop and they stole
everything.
Yeah, they stole stuff. So
in
when
these
my mom
old days, were there thieves?
Yeah. So when my mom came back, she said that someone had broken into and they had taken some stuff. I don't know what. And then eventually that shop went to bankrupt. But I do remember
they closed down.
No, they didn't actually. I do remember before they closed down, there was remaining like bar soaps and matchboxes, and I don't remember what else.
And salt.
Yes. And when I was still in class 5, I would be sent there to go and sell. Can you imagine?
Wow.
I go there. I'm in class 5. You can imagine. I'm only 10. I opened the shop, and I do remember this. There were so many plots around. So there was this person who used to come and buy soap every day. He would come and buy soap. Because he just came and bought. I think he used to feel, the way you can see, it's only a child who's going to open and you say, I'm just going to be going to buy soap. So he used to come and buy soap all the time. And then eventually, I don't remember what happened, but they ended up closing it down.
Were there so many the Arabs?
No, not at that point.
Oh.
Not at that point. They weren't. They were there, but they weren't so many. Like right now, there are so many that they're selling stuff and everything. Though they hadn't dominated the city at that point.
So,
but they were still there, and there was a lot of mosques. Because I do remember when we were going to school and everything, the mosque person would get up in the morning and he would just pray, and like the whole of the city, like you could hear. There were so many Muslims there, but the businesses had not like risen. They were like right now the way it is.
So after your parents closed down the shop, what happens after that?
So when they closed down the shop, we didn't, like at that point, it's not like the way we are bringing up our children and they get to know some of the stuff, like you inform them what's going on. But I do remember my mom saying that we were moving out and we were going to the Rift Valley.
Again, you go back to Rift Valley?
Yes, we went to Rift Valley. We went to Molo, a place called Turi.
That's what Charity usually tell you, you're a farmer, and you don't.
Oh no, I'm not. So when we went back there, my little brother was 9 months old. And by that time I was 10, because I do remember when I went there, I went to class 5. And I don't remember if I had to repeat class 4 or whatever, but I do remember we went to a school called Turi Sulguita. I think that's a Maasai name. Turi Sulguita.
And there were so many vegetables in these areas.
Yeah, Rift Valley, they have so much food and everything. So when we went there, we stayed a little bit with my dad, and then he left. He said that he was going to go and look for a job. So when he left, he stayed for so many days, and then at that point, my little brother broke his leg. They were playing with my older brothers. You know the way they build houses and they make those trenches whereby they build the foundation of the house.
Oh yeah.
So he fell there, and then my brothers did not realize that he had broken his leg. So they brought him when they were carrying him, and then when my mom checked, he had broken his leg. So he had to be taken to Molo General Hospital because that was the nearest hospital, and they stayed there for quite some time. They stayed for like a month. And I do remember at one point, because we were all by ourselves, and my mom is gone. At a very tender young age, I started cooking for my brothers and sisters, and my sister. So I would cook ugali, and sometimes it wasn't done. And there were so many pumpkins there. And that's why I don't know if I can eat pumpkins. I hate pumpkins because that's all that we grew up with. Like,
They are
we
medicine.
just boil
They are
them
medicine. They are
and
medicine.
put salt and put, like, it was just what can I say? That was like the staple food. Then the other thing is that I do remember at that point we would go and fetch, pyrethrum flowers.
Yeah.
You know pyrethrum?
Mhm.
So there used to be this lady, she had a pyrethrum farm. So she would go and have us pick up the flowers, and she would only pay us 5 shillings. All of us, the three of us.
By 1980s, 5 shillings was a lot of money.
But they used to be paid with, I think they used to be paid in a different way. But because one lady said that woman was exploiting us because she was only giving us 5 shillings. So until at one time, I do remember I went and told my mom, because we used to go to see her in the hospital. And she said that we stopped going there. So there was nobody to be left at home with my brothers. And my mom was in the hospital. So at one point, he had to talk to the doctor and tell him, I have a daughter who can come and stay with the little one so that I can go and take care of the other ones. So when I was that age, I went to the hospital and stayed with my little brother. So he was in this, they had put him in a ward, in a women's ward. There was some reason I think they had put him there because my mom was there. So his bed was in between the hallway, like at the farthest end, but it was at the center. So I went and I took care of my little brother while my mom went home so that he could take care of my brothers and sisters. And actually, she decided to take them back to where she was born because there was nobody who was taking care of us there. We were just by ourselves, and like 4 kids by themselves, and the little girl is the one who is cooking for them. So she came and took my youngest, the third born and the fourth born. She took them to my grandmother, and then she left my oldest brother. And then when she came, it was time for them to be discharged. She came, and the four of us, the baby, me, and my older brother, we went to my grandmother. So that's how we ended up going to my grandmother's village where we grew up, like until I was older. So when we went there, we had forgotten about life in the city. We had forgotten about everything.
Were you wearing shoes when you're in the city?
Yes.
What about when you go to the rural areas?
We didn't have shoes. So it's because I do remember even when we were little, we weren't that bad off because even my dad used to buy bacon.
What?
And even butter, like the butter that was in a yellow paper, and then you just open up the paper and everything. We used to have that. But then when we went to go and live in the Rift Valley, and at the same time when we went to live with my grandmother.
Let me ask you a question. Don't try to rush me, my dear. Mm-hmm. Let me ask you a question. Mm-hmm. Because you have been used of eating butters, bacon, how did the life change when you started eating pumpkin, managu, all this stuff?
I don't think we cared because we were little. When we were young and we were little, it doesn't click.
You just want to eat anything.
I think the person who was seeing a change was my mom. Mm-hmm. But for us, we just wanted, when kids are kids, like there were children here, all they care about is to be full.
Yeah, that's true.
So for us, there was nothing. It was okay as long as we were having food and everything. We were fine.
No.
So we went to live with my grandmother. That was my favorite.
And 6,
7, and 8. But despite we had so many problems, although my mom got a job, she became a clerk in the tea business. Mm-hmm. There was a factory and they would hire clerks.
Okay.
So my mom became a clerk.
Mm-hmm.
But her job was kind of very challenging because she would go to work at 10, and then she would come home when the tractor came and picked the tea leaves, because when you buy them from the farmers, then the clerk is in charge of them until the big lorry comes and picks them up.
What about your dad?
My dad was nowhere, out of sight, because when he left to go and look for a job, like he had said that he went to look for a job, he never came back. He didn't come back, actually, because when the time that he came back was, I do remember that he came back after 1 year, but we had already gone to my grandmother's.
Oh, okay.
And when he came, he didn't last for a long time.
He went back
Because
to-
there is a culture whereby, of course, when you come for kids and everything, you'll be asked questions and everything. And my dad never liked to be questioned, so it didn't go very well. So he just left and he went. So most of the time when I grew up, my father was not in the picture, because we grew up in my maternal grandmother's home.
Okay.
So he wasn't there, So that the father-daughter relationship, I don't know that, because I didn't have it. My dad was there, but I didn't have that relationship.
What about your uncles?
No, and that's why sometimes I frown on our culture, because when a woman goes back home with their children, the brothers are not gonna like her.
Yeah, because you want
My
to
uncles,
inherit.
they never liked us at all.
Because you guys, you want to inherit.
Because I think in their mind they thought that we were there to inherit the farm.
Mhm.
You know what I mean? And
Mhm.
we were treated like
The second.
stepkids.
Mhm.
That's how I can say. Like, even our cousins, they would frown at us. The ones who used to live there, like we were different. Because I do remember when we went to live at my grandmother, I was like a house girl to one of my aunts.
Were you living in the same house with your grandmother?
Yes,
or...
we lived in the same house with my grandmother at that point when we went in the first place. You see what I mean? And in the first place, when we went there, before my mom was on her own feet and everything, we used to live with her. Because you have come from...
Okay, from another, then you have to...
So where do you go first? That's the
the
stopping point. You understand what I mean?
Okay.
And even if you move out, it's still going to be in the same vicinity. You understand what I mean?
Let us move on, Charity, because we don't want to dwell with how you lived with your grandmother.
Yeah,
all
we
that
don't want to
stuff.
dwell with that, because that's in the past.
Yeah,
So
then after you completed class 8, where did you go?
when I completed class 8, I was so smart.
Wow.
Because I was the first girl in our school. Actually, I was the boy. There was a boy. His name was Oscar. He was the first one, and I was this. No, there was a boy. Yeah, I think I was the second. I think I was either the second one or the third one. No, I think there was Oscar, and then there was this guy who was called Njogu, and then I was the third one. But overall, I was the first girl in our school. So I went to high school, but I do remember that my high school, my dad came. He did my shopping and he paid my school fees.
For 4 years?
No, just one term.
Okay.
He did that. And then from there, it was my mom who would pay our fees and everything. But I do remember I used to be sent home like a lot of times, because the fees was not enough. And the way they would send you home, because you get pocket money. No, you get fare to go to school. You don't even have a shopping. You only have a bar soap, and you have toothpaste, and what else?
Bluebird.
No, I didn't
Sugar
have all that stuff.
to
No,
make. You did not have the bluebird, sugar, and cocoa to make that thing they used to
the
make.
mixture.
The mixture.
No,
Oh my goodness! You didn't enjoy the high school.
no. I would see other people doing it. I do remember my first shopping when I was going to high school was full. Like my box was full.
Wow, you be
Yes, he had everything.
You open it. You open
Yes,
it.
because when you went to high school, you would be given a sister. Oh, they were like, I do remember my sister. I can't remember her name very well, but I do remember she used to be friends with another girl from our village. And so they were like, oh, she has a lot of stuff. But I was sent home like most of the times. And I do remember there was a time, like I really felt bad. I was in Form 3. So I had been sent home, and I stayed home for like a whole month. And I was so frustrated, because I do remember I used to go and lay down on the grass, just lay down on the grass. There was a little pathway that I would go and lay on the grass and lay there like all day, like doing nothing, because I was like, I could be in school right now. So when I went back to school, we had this headmistress. We used to have an initial headmistress who passed away, and then we had another one. I can't remember her name. I wish I could remember her name because like she wasn't good. Because I went, and then she called me to her office. When she called me to her office, she was like, "Why were you gone for so long?" I told her I didn't have any fare, and you guys said that I can't come back without fare. And then she was like, "You should have come back and told us that there is no fees and we would have let you stay." I was like, "I didn't even have fare to come to school, so I couldn't come." So, I'm talking to her in the morning, right? And people haven't gone to, no, I was talking to her in the morning, and then the next day was assembly. Assembly, like,
Yeah, like a Friday.
I think we used to go to assembly on Wednesday
and Friday.
and Friday.
Mhm.
So that is what she went. Like when she was talking, she said, "Some of you are coming here, and I don't know, you are so proud and whatever." So she was referring to other girls, and even some of you, your parents cannot even afford fare to send you home, leave alone pay school fees. That's what she said.
Oh my.
Like like it hits you that she's using your example on other people, and you just talk to that person like like that makes you feel so
Did
bad.
you finish high school?
I did. And
Mhm.
I did very well, actually. I really did very well because I had a C plus.
Oh, that's good.
But unfortunately, my mom had a big burden because my brother, at that point, my brother who was behind me was going to high school. He had passed very well, and we were smart. Oh my gosh, we were really smart in our family. We weren't.
They were not.
We were doing very well in school.
Were there so many welfares to help you guys?
Yes, I do remember there was welfare, and actually, we used to be Presbyterian, and that's why I moved out of the Presbyterian church when I grew up, because I really hated that church. I grew up in the Presbyterian church when I was little. That's why we went to Sunday school and everything. But then something happened that made me say that I was never gonna go to that church when I grew up, because when I was younger, I didn't have the independence of moving out or making my own decision. But when I went to high school, I would go to Catholic. I would go to CU,
CA.
whatever it was, Catholic Union instead of the other one.
The C is for the Catholic Association. The CU is for the Christian Union.
Yes, so I went to the Catholic
CA,
one.
The CA.
So there was this bursary that was supposed to be given out.
Mhm.
And my brother, remember, he had passed very well, and he had to go to school. And so my mom went to apply. But remember, my mom used to work all the time, and sometimes she would even go to work on Sunday. So she wasn't a regular, like she wasn't going to church every time that they expected her to be. But my grandmother, we used to go to church with my grandmother. We were in church all the time. My brothers were in church or whatever. But they didn't give him. They didn't give him simply because my mom had not reached out to the expectations of the church. You understand what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
And it's not that she didn't want to meet the expectations of the church. It's because she had to go to work. It was only her hand that we were relying on. 5 kids, and you have a job. Are you going to forsake your job? She had to go to work. You understand what I mean?
Did you guys have farm or no farm?
No, we didn't have a farm.
Oh, so you used to rely with whatever she.
Yes, with whatever that she was getting. So she really needed to go to work. We did have some farms that were rented. So we would go to there to go do farming and all that. But that's how it was. But the way the church can come in and help, they didn't help her the way that they were supposed to. You know what I mean?
Okay. After you completed high school, what did you do?
I wanted to be a nurse.
Oh, you are a nurse now?
No.
Oh.
I did want to at that point.
Oh.
And why I wanted to be a nurse was because we had a health center in our village.
And they used to wear white clothes and white capes.
And I would see these nurses they are wearing. Actually, that's how I wanted to graduate, but I couldn't because it's different here in the US. So they had this white little dress, and then they used to wear these dark blue sweaters. And then they had that little cape on their head, and they looked so nice. Like, I really liked that. I don't know, for some reason I really liked that, especially when I would go to the health center. And so my mom wasn't able to pay for my college,
Yeah, it was
So I
expensive
ended
back
up
then.
becoming a hairdresser. That was the
Wow.
only thing that she would be able to afford for me to become a hairdresser. I did it well.
With the C plus, then you decided to become a hairdresser.
That was the only thing that
Was available.
was, you know, you take what is there.
I don't throw the.
Beggars are not choosers.
I don't throw a foot.
You get what you get and you don't throw a fit.
Then
You
you
don't
become
throw
a
a
hair.
fit.
Then you become a hairdresser.
Yes.
And how did you end up to in the United States, or how did you get married, or what
So
happened?
when I became a hairdresser, I worked and everything, and then I went to Nairobi. Actually, I went to do my hairdressing in town,
Mhm.
and then I was hired by this lady. She used to be my instructor there in college, and she told me that I could teach.
Mhm.
So she was starting. She told me that she was starting a college, and she was gonna give me how much was she giving me? Like 4,000
Wow.
Kenya shillings. So I was like, oh my gosh, that's a lot of
4,000
money.
US dollars.
4,000 Kenyan shillings every month. That was a lot. Oh my god.
Mhm.
So she told me that, and then I was like, oh my god, that's a lot of money. So I went. When I went, there was nothing. She had started. She was a very good. She used to do hair very very nicely. But the thing is that she didn't have any students. So she wanted me to go there and start looking for students myself.
Wow.
You understand? You just come from college and someone expects you to go there and you find, where are you going to find students? She wasn't advertising. She hadn't even written a board to say that she was going to be, it was a high hairdressing school. There was nothing like that. So the person that I was training was her sister.
Wow.
Her sister, oh my gosh, she used to know how to braid and everything, and she just looked down on me. And that's why I don't like to be looked down upon, because all my life, even since I was little, if there's so many things that I cannot talk about here on air, but all the time since I was young, I have been looked upon by so many people, the people that I have trusted, the people that, you know what I mean? Like you're just looked down by anyone, like they can treat you the way they want. So I really never liked the way that girl was, because yes, she knew how to braid hair, she was fine, but she didn't knew the theory part of it. And that's why I was coming in to train her so that we could be training together. But then I would go in, and then she would come in at 11. She was left with the baby for that sister. So it wasn't a good environment, like you weren't learning anything. And then so eventually I got another job. Now at that point, they were trying to renovate in the bathroom.
Oh.
And I went to look for a plumber.
Okay.
So when I went to look for a plumber, I found this guy. He was older. So he came in. I don't remember what he did. He didn't finish, and then the boss was very upset. So I went back to go and get him, and that's when I found you.
Me or another?
You.
Uh-huh.
I started with that old guy, and then that's when I found you. There I was like, you said that you are a plumber, and we went. But then when you came, you didn't do a good job. Because you did open up everything, you cut the wall, and then you left.
Probably you guys were not paying good.
No, not us. It wasn't. Actually, you thought that was my business.
And you have been employed.
And I had been employed.
Oh my goodness.
So you left. And then I came to find you again. I was like, the boss is making a lot of noise. You need to come and finish the work. So eventually you did come and finish, but you had left a lot. You didn't even clean up. Oh my god.
Yeah, plumbers they don't clean up.
Why? You have to clean. You clean up here when you are working.
This is America, but in Kenya, they let the boss clean up for themselves.
So after I worked there, I met this guy, and he said that he had a college. No, one of the people that I was going to school with in my previous college told me that there was another college, and that person was hired. So I went for an interview, but I didn't have a phone, and that's why you came in, because you had a phone.
Oh, used my phone.
So I used your phone. I told you if they call, you let me know, because I gave them your phone number, because I didn't have a phone and I didn't want to give the phone for that person who had hired me. So when they called, you told me that they called and I can go for a job, and that's when I started working for them. And remember, they used to pay me 4,000.
Wow.
Just the money.
When was that?
That was quite a while. So I worked for that guy for a while. I did work for him, and then um, we were like, if you, I was running the whole place. Like I was doing the training, I was doing the practicals, I was doing everything, and then we started talking. And then you were like, what if we started our own business? And that's how we started our own like hairdressing and beauty college. We had a hairdressing and beauty college called You and I and Beauty College. But that time we were still boyfriend and girlfriend. We had not gotten married or anything. And we did our business and everything. And eventually is when we got the green card and came to live in the US.
When did you get married to Francis?
A long time ago. It's been many years.
Why were you interested with Francis?
I think one of the things is that when I grew up, I would start with my dad because as you know your dad. My dad, they never used to have open conversations with my mom. Like they wouldn't sit down and talk and talk. You know, like people talk and you have friends. They didn't have that communication. I can tell by the time that short time that they lived together, they did have that open communication. They would communicate, but they didn't have that open one. And I had realized even when I went to my uncles and everything, that thing was lacking. But when we met, we would talk almost the whole night. And I was like, this person is different. Like you're talking like your friends and you really don't care what you're talking about. And that's one of the things that made me think that we could share life, because if you can share you can talk about anything, because you're supposed to marry your friend. And for me, I've read so many books. Like I used to read so many books, I used to read so many novels and everything. And I know that for you to succeed in a marriage, the communication has to be there. And we clicked on communication.
Thank you so much, Charity. Thank you for giving us a talk. We are going to have a talk in part 2 because we have used a lot of time.
Uh-huh.
I'm requesting you to continue subscribing Charity's Bubbles so that we get to know so much.
Uh-huh.
Thank you so much, my dear. We are going to share another part 2.
Thank you.